combi boiler faults or gas boiler faults. My name's Allen Hart, and in today's video I've got a brand new Ideal Logic Combi Boiler. I've installed it on the wall and I've put some common faults onto this boiler, installation faults. I'm going to go through them faults with you, go through some of the different scenarios and regulations, and hopefully help some of the people that are watching this video. I've put this boiler at wall so that when some trainees come, they can look at this boiler and they can point out the faults on the boiler. So hopefully when they go out by themselves, it'll help them install things correctly. Really, that's more or less what this channel is about. As always, if you could put a thumbs up, comment below, share, all that good stuff, really appreciate that. First thing we'll do, we'll just go outside and we'll have a look at the condensate pipe. So if we look at the condensate pipe on this, we'll notice straight away it's got the white overflow pipe coming through the wall. So that is undersized. It should be 32mm pipe. And as it goes down to the drain, we can see that this termination is also incorrect. That should terminate into the gully. And then also it should have insulation on there, and it should be insulation that complies. It should also be insulated all the way through the wall as well. And if you want to know more about condensates, check out the technical bulletin from Gas Safe, which is TB155, and that goes through the condensate. But also, as always, refer to the installation or installer manual or manufacturer's manual, and then you'll see how the manufacturer requires that boiler to be installed. On this particular boiler, it does need the big pipe going through the wall, and that pipe should be insulated as well. So this boiler definitely requires that. The first fault I wanted to point out on this is actually a system fault rather than a boiler fault. So if we have a look at the radiator here, we can see that it's got a thermostatic radiator valve on this system. So what that would mean is if all your system had radiator valves, thermostatic ones, when the system got warm, all your system would shut off, but your boiler may still be calling for heat. So on this particular system, the boiler would need an automatic bypass. It does have an automatic bypass built in to the boiler, but that's only normally enough for the boiler, and it's not really designed for all the system. So as I say, on this, you would need an automatic bypass. Put a comment below, let me know if you put automatic bypasses on, or what do you do? Do you leave a couple of radiators open on system? Put a comment below, let me know what you do to solve that situation. The next thing I wanted to have a look at is the filling loop. So this filling loop here, we can see the flexible pipe has been left on. We should disconnect that, and we should put the caps on. Now I know a lot of people don't do that, and I know the reasoning, because if you take it off, then it's difficult sometimes for a customer to put it back on. But you do also, on the flip side to that, you do go out to some jobs where filling loop's been left open, and if it gets left slightly open, then you can get problems with boiler over pressurising. So it is a good idea really to disconnect it. I know Ideal's got a built-in filling loop on this, and they've made it so that you can't really do that because you need to turn it back so you can get hot water coming out the tap. So the next thing, if we look on the pipe work, if we look on this return pipe, we haven't got a filter fitted on this. So if we're having a new boiler installed, we'd expect it to have a central heating filter installed with the boiler. Also, once the job is finished, I personally would use an AD Pro check, and I would give the customer a certificate to say that the boiler water quality is correct. So for me, that's another important thing when you have a new boiler. Make sure that you've got some sort of record to make sure that it's been flushed, the system's clean, and then you've got an inhibitor in the system afterwards, should that be required on the benchmark of the boiler. And other filters are available before everybody starts saying, oh, sponsored, you've been paid to promote AD. No, I haven't. I haven't been paid to promote AD. I ain't been paid to do this video today either. So yeah, whichever filter you want, brass filters. Personally, I like the brass ones. Obviously, I think that is made by AD actually. but that's the Ideal filter. So if you're going to install an Ideal boiler, it may be that you get that in box anyway. So yeah, so filter. And the next thing I wanted to point out is shock arrestor. Now, depending on the boiler manufacturer, so Ideal, Worcester, and many others, they would require a shock arrestor to be put on the cold water into the boiler. So just check whether you've got a shock arrestor or not. It normally depends on if you've got a backflow prevention device, something like a water meter, and then you would need a shock arrestor on there, and that will help protect the boiler. So Worcester has quite a few issues with plastics going faulty, and they say that that's to do with not installing shock arrestors on it. So yeah, so that's another thing, shock arrestor. So just check that you've got a shock arrestor. Now, next thing, if we have a look on this one under here, as I say, I've done this for trainees, but if we have a look, the gas pipe on this is not sealed correctly. So again, we'd be checking, making sure it's sleeved through a wall. If you've got a gas pipe, it needs to be sleeved if it goes through a wall. And just checking that that's all okay. Next thing we've got on this pipe work here, we haven't got a scale reducer. So depending on the area and depending on if you need it or not, some areas don't need one, but you should have a scale reducer on here. And then the next thing I've just wanted to bring up, this isn't a mandatory thing, is a deaerator. So I've installed a few deaerators now, and the Spirotech one, I've installed quite a few Spirotech ones, and I've got to be honest with you, I think they're really good. So that might be something you want to consider if you're installing a boiler. Again, if you notice, I'm mentioning all different brands in this video. So Fernox, AD, Ideal, anybody. So it's not a sponsored video. It's just me trying to give you the best advice I can, really. The next thing I wanted to look at is flue. So if we look at the new technical bulletin on flues, TB152. So that's an up-to-date technical bulletin from Gas Safe, but you'd always be looking at any up-to-date bulletins or regulations, or read the installation manual, or go out, phone the manufacturers and get them to, they'll email you information should you need it. On this particular one, what I've done is I've just connected the inner flue, so I've made it so the outer flue is missing, and I've purposely done that so that when trainees come and they have a look at this boiler and I'll say to them what are the faults with this boiler, then I would hope that they would pick up that the flue's not installed correctly, and because that's something that's really important. So yeah, check the flues. As I say, this one is installed incorrectly. Also on the Ideals, it does show you not to have white on show outside, and that the rubber seal needs to be on correctly. So again, with Ideal, that's somewhat unique. Bax's used to be no white on show, but I believe that the new flues, they're saying that you can have white on show now, but it'll just depend on the boiler manufacturer. Got this boiler now in training area, so if you need any videos or you want any videos on stripping it down or any fault codes or anything to do with Ideal boilers, then again, put a comment below and I'll try my best to do any videos I can to help and support any new trainees coming into industry or people that's been doing it a long time. I often learn myself from doing videos, so someday I might do something one way, and then somebody will come on and say, well, why didn't you do it like this? And you think, oh wow, yeah, we're not perfect. We learn as we go in this job. You know, we do have lots and lots of training, and you know, we go loads of training courses, but every day is a school day and we're always learning. So yeah, put a comment below, you know, give me some feedback. Has this video been of some use to you? Yeah, thanks for watching.